As we talk about civilizational dialogue, for example, between India and China, so there are many examples, First, I will, cite the example of Buddhism, right? Buddhism, it developed in India, and, by way of the circulation of ideas. So it was disseminated into China, but not straight from India to China, but it take a circuitous route from India to Central Asia, and then from Central Asia to China. The translation of the Buddhist Sutra, which is huge. For example, Indian scholar monks, especially from say so North India, so they, and then the Central India, so they, and even from the South India, you see Kumarajiva, you see Bodhidharma and Paramartha, various others. So there are thousands who went to China in waves after waves and engaged in the translation of these sutras. So this is one of the examples, wonderful examples. So how the first translation industry, by way of exchanging ideas, exchanging various things related to the civilizational dialogue, and it flourished in China, and in fact innovated it into a different product, which was totally different from the Indian Buddhism. So now it is being called as Chinese Buddhism. I think second example is how the sugar making technology, it transfers from India to China during this Wei Qin and then Tang dynasty, right? And then China makes progress, develops this further, and the modern version of the sugar, which is also known as the chini, so it is disseminated back from China to India. The paper itself is another example. So how it was discovered in China, and then from China, so it was disseminated into India, and and to various Central Asian republics, and then from Central Asian polities to Europe, the Chinese civilization. So it influenced Southeast Asia and Northeast Asia, and similarly Indian civilization, it influenced the entire South Asia and also the Southeast Asia to some extent. And even today, some of the myths and some of the stories from India's epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata, especially Ramayana, so they are still performed in these countries, say Thailand, say Indonesia, say Cambodia. Why only these countries, but also in mainland China, you see Chuanzhou, so many remains of the Indian civilizations, especially the temple culture, so they have been discovered, excavated in Chuanzhou, in Fujian province, and also like in Tali, in Yunnan, and some also in Lopnor, in China's Xinjiang. And the dialogue, the civilizational dialogue which we have been talking about, it could be found all the way, wherever we find the traces of the Silk routes. So you will find, the imprints of this exchange, very much live even today. So I think it was amazing, especially when the West, it was in sort of like the dark ages, and the Asian civilization, so they were inventing all kind of these inventions and making contribution to the mankind and human civilization. And I think President Xi Jinping, so he has been advocating it for quite some time, since 2013, building community of shared future, So I think it is extremely relevant, it is extremely pertinent, and it is very timely, So as far as the development in Asia is concerned, and especially the resurgence of the Asian civilization is concerned, and also, so this has coincided with the shift, in the gravity from Atlantic to Pacific,